Welcome to this explainer, where we're diving deep into the unseen forces, psychological, literary, and even cosmic, that are silently dictating our everyday behaviors, our identities, and our overall well-being. Have you ever caught yourself wondering why you react a certain way in a crisis? Or why a specific piece of dark literature just resonates with you? Or how ancient traditions literally map out your health based on the cosmos? Well, today, we're going to connect all of those dots. Here's our agenda for today's journey. First up, echoes of past hardships. Then, confronting the Jungian shadow. And finally, astrology, karma, and health. Let's get right into it.
Section 1. Echoes of past hardships. We so often look at people's quirks as just everyday personality traits, right? But as this beautifully poignant quote reminds us, resilience wears a lot of disguises. It says, "Some people wear their history like a quiet echo, showing you everything without saying a word." Meeting someone new is sometimes like reading a book with half the pages glued together. You only catch glimpses of their backstory through their really small habits.
And honestly, it's pretty staggering to realize just how common these unseen histories actually are. The CDC reports that a massive 61% of adults carry at least one adverse childhood experience, or ACE. That means well over half the people you meet every single day. We are interacting with these unseen echoes constantly, in our friends, our coworkers, and absolutely in ourselves. It profoundly impacts our independence, our hidden anxieties, and how we handle relationships.
Now, looking at these 10 subtle behaviors, it is wild to see how they categorize into clear subconscious survival mechanisms. Take eating incredibly fast. You might just think, oh, they're a ravenous eater, but actually, that's often a lingering reflex from a time when food felt really scarce. Or what about staying eerily calm during a crisis? While everyone else is losing their minds over, say, a burst pipe, someone with a traumatic past just slides into this focused Zen mode. Why? Because their nervous system has literally been rehearsing for a worst-case scenario their entire lives. Notice how behaviors like hypervigilance, reading a room to dodge conflict before it even starts, or obsessing over price tags out of a scarcity mindset. These aren't just quirks, they're protective armor. It's the psyche's invisible shield.
All right, moving on to Section 2, confronting the Jungian shadow.
To really understand why we build those subconscious walls, we have to look at what we're actually trying to hide. Enter the Jungian shadow. Coined by the legendary psychologist Carl Jung, the shadow contains all the socially unacceptable desires, the primitive instincts, and those unfavorable aspects of ourselves that our conscious ego is actively trying to suppress. Basically, it's the dark side of our nature that we completely refuse to acknowledge. In literature, it actually acts as a profound mirror for this exact psychological landscape. We can see the shadow perfectly mapped out in the unchecked individualism of Oscar Wilde's classic characters, Dorian Gray and Salome. They serve as the ultimate cautionary tales for what happens when we mismanage our dark sides.
Notice this fascinating contrast in how these two characters handle their repressed selves. Take Dorian Gray, he is all about pure denial. He hides his shadow away inside a parasitic portrait while maintaining this totally pristine outward persona. Salama, on the other hand, goes the exact opposite route. She excessively indulges her shadow until it completely consumes her conscious ego, which, as we know, culminates in her grotesque, obsessive demand for the head of Jokanan.
The underlying message in Wilde's work here is that the consequences are disastrous in both directions. Whether you artificially separate yourself from your shadow, like Dorian, letting a portrait absorb all his moral decay while he just lives in denial, or you completely give in to it like Salome, you are doomed. No way around it. Even King Herod is a victim here. His judgment is totally clouded by projecting his own shadow desires onto Salome, which basically allows her shadow to manifest through his authority. It's a wildly destructive interplay of unconscious selves.
So what's the fix? Well, Jung argued that acknowledging these hidden depths actually safeguards our mental health. If we can just see our shadow, we become immune to what he called mental infection. The lesson we get from Wilde's characters is crystal clear. Confronting and integrating our darker tendencies is what actually brings us to a state of wholeness. Ignoring the root of our actions, that simply allows our subconscious to overthrow our ego when we least expect it.
Which brings us to Section 3, astrology, karma, and health.
For our final chapter, let's expand outward to the cosmic level. This profound Vedic tenet perfectly mirrors the trauma fingerprints we discussed earlier. It says, all karma, past, present, or future, leaves an imprint and creates an impact. Just like a psychological trauma leaves a hidden mark, Vedic philosophy suggests that all of our actions, our karma, leave a tangible imprint. Mental states, physical health, and the cosmos itself are all fundamentally interconnected.
To understand these cosmic imprints, an adept Ayurvedic physician relies on Jyotisha, which is the ancient Vedic science of astrology. Now, unlike modern Western astrology, which, let's be honest, often focuses heavily on just personality quirks, Jyotisha serves as a highly complex medical and spiritual blueprint. It's literally a roadmap of a person's karma, indicating their physical constitution, their daily routines, and their overall vitality, all based on the alignment of the cosmos.
Looking at how Jyotisha categorizes the cosmos, we see a direct map between the elements, the zodiac signs, and human physical tendencies. These tendencies are known as Ayurvedic doshas, which are essentially mind-body energy types. For instance, if you look at fire signs like Leo, they map directly to the Pitta dosha. So an Ayurvedic practitioner might expect someone with that placement to be prone to fiery Pitta imbalances. Think inflammation or heartburn. It is an incredibly deeply organized system that maps the entire universe right onto the human body.
And because absolutely everything in this system is connected, a practitioner's remedies are incredibly diverse. They don't just hand you a pill and send you home. They start with something like Nadi Pariksha or pulse diagnosis to assess your current state. From there, they might prescribe dietary changes, specific healing yoga poses, or even astrological remedies like wearing particular gemstones. They might also prescribe Sanskrit mantras. And this part is absolutely fascinating. The source notes that mantras rely on the specific vibration of sacred sounds. That means your correct pronunciation is absolutely vital to effectively balance those unseen physical and cosmic forces. How cool is that?
We have covered some incredible ground today. We've seen how a childhood hardship can literally dictate how fast you eat your lunch. We've explored how a repressed Jungian shadow can fester and completely destroy your conscious life if you leave it unchecked. And we've looked at how ancient sciences use the stars themselves to map the karma echoing inside your own body. So I want to end this explainer with a final, provocative thought for you to carry with you. Which of these invisible fingerprints are actively shaping your life right now? Are you really making choices freely, or are you just acting out a quiet echo from your past, your shadow, or the cosmos? Think about it. Thanks so much for learning with me today.